afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is going to be a reading for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the period of July 19th to the 25th for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Now, bear in mind that there is a full moon in Aquarius coming up this week on the 23rd. So that's really going to highlight relationships, okay? So bear that in mind. And Chiron just went retrograde on the 15th. So that was already bringing out a lot of required inner healing, maybe inner child stuff, maybe just emotional healing. But definitely with this full moon, focusing on relationships, we might see some healing that's required for relationships. So let's see what messages we have for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Okay, Scorpio, this is a very interesting spread. Okay, what it looks like to me is right now, sort of at the thing that really needs alignment for you right now, sort of top of the matter, is this idea that you're trying to balance your inner beliefs with your outer reality. Okay, as you can see, these two pentacles here sort of make an infinity symbol. Okay, so what we see with that is that you're really trying, it's almost like you're juggling a lot of things. You're trying to bring a lot of things into balance, okay? And some of them may be in conflict with one another. So it may be difficult to keep these two in the air because they may be opposing one another. This is the interesting thing here. Now, the key when you see this is to create balance through flexibility. Okay, so you may not feel like that's possible right now, but you sort of have this opportunity to understand yourself in a new way when you see the Two of Pentacles. Okay, it's really a time of change and one that involves balance. Okay, and you know, it's interesting because you may not feel like you're in control of balancing this right now. And you may actually even feel like this is a struggle to keep these two balls in the air, if you will. Especially if your inner beliefs aren't matching your current life path, which is sort of where I'm headed to next, because the card that explains the truth behind that, you see, is the Hierophant here. So when you see the Hierophant, you really see a time where the individual in the spread is trying to understand truth on a philosophical level. Like you may be really diving deep into understanding the meaning of your life or the soul purpose, your life path, okay? And it may be in conflict right now with something that you're currently doing in the physical world. So as you do this evaluation, this may need more and more balance, and you may eventually just feel like you have to drop one of these orbs. And I say that because it looks like the action that you know, you're being guided towards in this reading. We see the Two of Cups in reverse. So the Two of Cups in reverse can mean quite a few things with respect to the reversal. I mean, the Two of Cups upright is usually about a union that's about to begin. So when you see it in reverse, the first thing that I always think of is there's a union that may need to end. Now, this whole reading is about balancing things that are in opposition. So you might be discovering, as you dive deep into your truth with this Hierophant card, you may be discovering that the partner that you're with right now is the opposing force. You may. I mean, seeing the Two of Cups, this might not resonate for everyone. So if you're in a happy union, Scorpio, this part of the reading might not be for you. You might be trying to be balancing other things, and it may be causing an emotional response within other relationships, maybe not your significant union if you're in one. However, for some other people, it could mean that there's a bit of a high and dry part of your relationship where it's sort of like the differences between you are causing friction. There could be something going on here where there's a miscommunication, a misunderstanding, some separation, clarity is needed, okay? If you are feeling that this is resonating for you with respect to a relationship, it may be time to sort of have a chat to clarify some things instead of trying to balance it all on your own. Okay, now when I look at the process that you're on, I see the King of Pentacles in reverse, which really suggests a time where there is a struggle that you need to face in the physical world, and that inner movement is required, which is really echoed by this Two of Pentacles, because like we said, inner beliefs balanced against the outer world. So something in the outer world, Scorpio, is showing you that you can no longer sort of be a part of something. And I mean, if this is resonating for you with respect to a relationship, it's time to sort of clarify something in this union, because something's up. However, if you're in a very happy union and it doesn't add up for that, it could be a friendship, it could be a work colleague, it could be your relationship to yourself, right? The inner and the outer aren't incongruent. They're incongruent, and you need to bring them into congruency somehow by balancing. And the best way to balance when you see the Two of Pentacles is to be flexible. You can't try to control the process too much. You need to just sort of be flexible with how you're juggling all of these things, okay? The Two of Cups in reverse can also indicate sort of a time, like I said, where you're doing some shadow work, where you're looking into the mirror that is, maybe your partner. Everyone around us is a mirror to show us a different angle or a different perspective of ourselves. So you might be doing some shadow work through a relationship where there may be a relationship in your life that is showing you something about yourself that you're not able to sort of incorporate. You're not really understanding it. There could be a need to balance the masculine and feminine energies within yourself. But it could also have to, I'm sorry, I have to say it because it could resonate for someone. It could have to do with a feeling of feeling betrayed in a love relationship, and that, it could be sort of this thing ending. I'm sorry to say it. It could be like a star-crossed lovers situation where maybe this person didn't do anything to hurt you intentionally, like star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet. It just didn't work out the way they had hoped. Okay, so that might be what you're in right now. You might be reflecting on a situation in your life that did not work out the way you had hoped, and you're starting to see the truth about this. Okay, the Hierophant, don't discount this. This is really a time where you're understanding the deeper truth about something, okay? More spiritual truth, a more profound truth that has to do with sort of universal truths. Like, I really think you're starting to understand yourself in a new way, and it's going to shake things up for you insofar as your key relationships, okay? And this could be a time where you're sort of, I don't know, you might be feeling overwhelmed. You really need to bring in some balance here to help you. Flexibility will help with that. Be flexible. Don't be too rigid in how you perceive or see things right now, because you're still in the exploration phase. You're still trying to understand these two opposing forces, and you might still be trying to understand why this relationship didn't work out the way you wanted it to. Try not to focus too much on the why, and just understand that sometimes things come into our life to teach us stuff, but they don't come into our life to stay forever. They just come in to teach us stuff. Now, as far as your final guidance card goes, my dear Scorpio, you received the Page of Cups in reverse. So when I see the Page of Cups in reverse, the first thing I think of is that you could be afraid or resistant to the idea of accepting an emotional vulnerability. Okay, so you could be feeling really like I'm not putting myself out there. Okay, that's sort of the idea when you see the Page of Cups in reverse. It's also a time when you could be reaching out lovingly, sort of in the past, to something that spurned you or laughed at you or made you feel less than, and it's a frightening time potentially for your inner child to be confronted by something that may have happened in the past, and you're trying to heal it. Very interesting. So this is very in line with Chiron being in retrograde and the full moon in Aquarius, because it focuses on relationships, as we can see, and it's a highly emotional time where we're healing our inner child, and that's exactly what's happening right now. We're going to pull some oracle cards here, but your intuition could definitely be communicating with you, and it might be something that you're not really wanting to hear. Okay, so you might be withdrawing a little bit into fantasy. That's something that can happen when we see the Page of Cups in reverse, where you're more in fantasy than reality. But that makes sense because you're really trying to balance right now between the inner and outer. So you're sort of in between right now, and realizing that there's something that needs your attention with respect to relationships. A key one, I would suspect. Could be a friendship, could be your partner, could be, someone that you sort of it didn't pan out the way you thought it would. Scorpio, it just didn't go the way you thought it would. Sorry, I'll just bring these back in so that you can see them. There we go. Okay, let's get the oracle cards out on top of this to see what the messages are here for Scorpio with respect to this balancing act. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. Okay, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Okay, wow. Okay, Scorpio. Yeah, something has to go. We see time to go here, and it's sandwiching the relationship and your imagination. So that tells me that you, on some level, probably subconscious, know that it's time to leave this union or to leave this relationship, but that, your imagination is the thing that knows this. It's not it hasn't been accepted by your conscious self yet. Just on the imagination level, you are aware that, on a subconscious level, you're aware that something is up with one of these relationships in your life, and it's got to go. It's time to go. But you know what? You're at a fork in the road, because this is tricky. Balancing the idea of the inner and outer you, Scorpio, has become difficult. But, this card is sandwiched also between time to go and fork in the road. So it's time to go and pick one of these forks in the road. And it looks like your intuition, represented by your imagination here, the Imagine card, knows where you should head off to. So it looks like it's towards a new life. Look at that. You are headed down a new life, and that is one of the truths that you're uncovering when you are diving into your imagination here. You are starting to see the picture in your subconscious very clearly that it's time for a new life, and you can see that the King of Pentacles is sandwiched between fork in the road and new life. So that suggests that this conflict in the outer world that has to happen is going to create inner movement, which will help you choose your path, and it will lead to a new life. So for the Scorpios that this is resonating for, it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but then, wow, is it going to create a lot of space for you to create this new life based on the truths that you discover about bringing into congruency and balance the inner world and your choices that you make in the outer world. So something's out of whack, something's out of balance. It looks like it has to do with a relationship, and that your final guidance here is to stay in the present and not get too swept away into fantasy, because, you're going to need to be sort of grounded. That's the other thing when I see this Page of Cups, is that you need to be grounded, so that you emotionally grounded, so that you don't get too emotionally swept away into fantasy, and so that you can make the choice you need to with respect to this fork in the road, so that you find your new path. You're headed down a new path, my dear Scorpio, and It's going to be one that's more aligned. That's the thing to keep telling yourself, that this will be in balance. This will be in balance. And this may be hard to let go of, but it's going to serve you in the end with respect to this new life. Oh boy, I hope for the Scorpios that this is resonating for, that this is not a shock, that you knew this already, that this, if it's resonating for you, that you sort of unconsciously knew this union wasn't the one for you, or you're starting to realize that now. Okay, I am going to leave it at that. If this has resonated for you and you would like a personal reading, my email is in the description below. As always, thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and watching. And we'll see you very soon for some more readings. Sending lots of love and light to you.